anticipated Michael Jackson biopic opens tomorrow, but it's already generating controversy. The movie had to edit out scenes that alluded to his child molestation scandal because of a past settlement with the accuser. But Colman Domingo, who stars as Michael's dad, Joe Jackson, says it doesn't take away from the movie. Take a look.
The film does stop in 1988.
Yes.
Several years before the first child molestation allegations were made. And, you know, we live in an environment now where we take survivors of sexual abuse, we take their stories very seriously. How do you reconcile your performance with that?
I think the film takes place, you know, from the 60s to 1988. So
Right.
it does not go into the first allegations in like 2005.
Right.
So basically we center it on the makings of Michael. So it's an intimate portrait of who Michael is.
So, I don't know, are you planning to see it? I mean, it says, you know, do you think, will people think it's a glaring omission? Not if they know that it's not a documentary and it's also covering their beginnings.
Well, I think it's, you know, I think what is important to know about the film is that the director, Antoine Fuqua, did in his first draft include the molestation allegations, the trial, which he was found not guilty of, and some of the accusers that came out after his death. But because of this legal settlement with one of the accusers, he had to cut those parts and reshot $15 million worth of film to take that part out. So the intention wasn't to hide it. The intention was to address it, but they legally couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So when you put that context in, which is what people need to know, I think you can see the movie and understand that they aren't trying to whitewash history. Or
what about the Melania
history.
movie?
Oh, well, I haven't seen that one.
No, but that's really important context that he gave. And by the way, anything Colman Domingo does, I've attempted to see.
It is important context.
Because I struggled with that with the Broadway show, too, which is excellent. And if you love Michael Jackson's music, like, he's unrivaled as a pop icon. You want to enjoy those songs. And I wrestle with it because I believe the allegations, I believe the people who came forward, but I think the fact that it's stopping before that, you're talking about what made him him, the impact he had on culture. I think that works. It would bother me far more if it came up to modern times and just pretended that didn't happen.
I think people seek like moral absolutes in life, and it's very hard to reconcile that this man was a genius, possibly a prodigy. But also there were serious sexual allegations that I watched Leaving Neverland, and everyone has to come to terms with their own feelings on that because he wasn't convicted in court. I believe both things can exist, and I don't think there was a way, aside from the legal parts that the director speaks of, you almost have to separate those. By ending before the allegations began, you allow us to look into what made Michael Michael, because there was a lot of abuse in that. And so I think it's better to look a little closer. It's not glorifying, it's showing this phenomenal story of a once-in-a-generation talent that is of interest to see. That was the artistry, that was the genius. I think when you try, even if they had shot it later, it would have grown very complicated to try to tell that in a scripted story.
And by the way, Nia Long, that was actress Nia Long, who plays Katherine Jackson, she sort of intimated that there may be a sequel, and that sequel may be able to address that part of his life. And so I think people can see this movie and feel comfortable.
Nobody's perfect.
That it's
Wagner was a Nazi. They still listen to his music.
On that historic note.
I mean, you know, listen, none of us is perfect. None of us is perfect, and we all have to. I don't know that in a biography of me that I want all my stuff put out there. And that's what you're gonna have to decide, what your family has to decide. But they've addressed it. You'll make a decision on your own. If you want to see it, see it. If you don't, don't. And we're moving on.